Hey y'all, we're peeling back the curtain and taking a really close look at my background and Todd's background, and we thought it'd be super fun for you guys to have this opportunity to learn from us. So Todd, kick us off. Tell us how you got started.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you, Kate. You're such a good interviewer and presenter. So, hi, my name is Todd Patrick Dorsey. I've been running Outside the Box Recruiting Inc. for the last 5 years, focused on retained executive search for sales and marketing professionals. So, my brief rundown. So, I was doing career coaching at the collegiate level. So career services, helping people figure out what they want to do, where they want to go. Loved it. Really meaningful work for me. But you don't make any money in education. So
No, you don't.
you really don't. So then I
Neither in human
switched.
services.
Yeah, I mean, for sure though. And so then I switched into corporate recruiting, and I did that for 1 year. Just immediately took to it, just crushed it. The guy, I was running all of his sales recruiting for the Southeast here in America. $500 million revenue company. I was doing all the recruiting for 15 different office locations throughout the United States. Just dominated it. Super, super good. He became one of my close mentors enough that he said, "Don't work for me anymore. Go start your own recruiting. Like you're phenomenally good at this." So I launched Outside the Box Recruiting Inc. I focused initially on sales folks, account executives, biz dev reps. Um, so that was contingent. So I was doing contingent. I moved into an hourly model where I was charging 150 an hour, kind of being a fractional corporate recruiter. Moved into a retainer model with a success fee for clients. Worked my way up the hierarchy to VP and director level, CMO, CSO type roles into retained search. Mainly just because you get burned out doing the lower level roles. So moved into that, doing retained search for that. COVID hit. Moved into manufacturing just to, you got to be practical about this, guys. So
Mhm.
sometimes shit's just going to happen in your business. So I reached out to a bunch of my mentors. Yes, I have a lot of mentors. Yes, I have coaches. Super, super necessary for you to get to the next level. I reached out to my coaches. I said, hey, or not my coaches, my mentors. I said, hey, who of you is getting new business? No, I'm not interested in you getting repeat business. I'm not interested in referral business. I want to know who is picking up the phone and generating business right now. One of my mentors in the manufacturing space, raised his hand. Hey, we're killing it. So pivoted into manufacturing recruiting for the time being. And then I'm looking at Q1, Q2 of next year. Moving back into retained search for sales and marketing. I'll be focused Q1, kicking off, the general, drip content and marketing approach to get me positioned for Q2. General 20 to 25%. I like to do a 6-month replacement fee, or I'm sorry, 6-month guarantee. I don't do refunds. I only do replacement. Sometimes I'll do 12-month. I found with like the CMO and CSO roles that 12 months is really an attractive offer. So yeah, that's where I'm at now.
So you've done a lot and you've evolved. And really, what would you say your favorite approach is now? So like contingent, retained, like where do you really stand on that?
Yeah, fine. For me, the role of moving into business owner is more intriguing than all of that. So, empowering others to be successful and putting the system, process, mindset, everything into them so that they can be successful. When it comes to recruiting, I'm, anything below a VP or director level role, like I can't, it's just, it's not going to be interesting. So
Mhm.
and also that's not where other people start. That's all good. Like I could go back there, but at this point in my evolution, I'm well over 15,000 plus interviews. So the CMO, CSO, VP of sales, VP of marketing, retained search
Are more
where,
interesting to you.
yeah, so that's, that gets into the engagement, like, it's not just having a good process, and it's not just having, um, good content and good marketing and good follow-up and good referral system and good intake calls. It's also liking what you're doing, and
Hmm.
and it's not just having a good niche. There's so many different ways. Like when I think about recruiting, I'm like, okay, what's your why? Why do you find it meaningful? What are the pros in the pro column? What do you enjoy? Who do you enjoy talking to? What does the market respond to? Um, what type of marketing lands for you? What's your biz dev approach that works for you? Is it video? Is it cold call? Is it content? Um,
So you focus more on matching, like what is it that interests you and what's actually a need out there right now. And then you
mhm.
also are really looking at what kind of personality type do you have and how can we highlight that so that you
Mhm.
stand out as a recruiter? Because there might be somebody who loves video, but if you don't love video, what else do you love that we can really hone in and like have you build that skill set out?
Yeah, yes, and what's the belief? What's the mindset? What are the blocks? And what's the process? What's the data? What are the metrics? What's the content? And what's your brand? How good are you at delivering? What's your client retention like? What's your follow-up? And how do you shift into being a business owner? How do you shift into empowering others? There is all of these at play. Um, and I'm very good at them. And so I can take someone and figure out where they're going to fit and how they're going to fit and like have them, I can just roll all that out.
Okay. So that being said, what makes you stand out as a recruiter, as a coach? Like, what is your fundamental why behind it for you?
Yeah. I ain't shit. I'm nothing special. Um, it's, uh, I am a better mentor, coach, teacher, and trainer than I am a recruiter. And I'm a really good recruiter. And the reason I'm a really good recruiter is because I give a shit about other people. The reason that my retention with clients is really well is because they know that I'll sacrifice a deal. They know that I'll have a 20,000 or a $30,000 deal on the line, and I'll tell them not to offer the candidate, because I don't think it's an alignment for whatever reason. You only have to do that once, and that client will be a lifetime client. Um, what I think makes me good is I really care. I really listen to what people find meaningful and what their why is, and I'm a part-time career coach with them and really helping them craft, where they at with their family, where they at in their growth and their evolution, what's the right fit. Um, and I'm really good with clients and helping them,
Yeah, you've always been good at
screen
listening
through.
between because, like, when you were training me, it was really about like you've got to hone in and figure out what's really going on with this candidate. And you've really got to hear on the client side what has really been missing. What is it that they really need? And like that's been so critical in my own journey as a recruiter.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, I marry all of this with, being good at marketing, being good at automation, building out processes, understanding mindset, understanding metrics. At the core, it's like you have to have soul and you have to have execution. So at my core, I want others to win, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
always focused on everyone winning, where it's such a strong win for everyone that they can't say no, and nerding out on everything that flows in the background, um, to make it seamless. And then one of the other things I do is I carve out time. Like if it's not on the calendar, it ain't real. So, I take half a day every week. Um, Podcasts, books, interviews, pulling apart what I'm doing, borrowing from other people, taking courses, taking programs. Um,
So that willingness to work on you.
yeah, I mean, if you're not investing 5 to 10 grand a year in continuing education, you're going to hit a ceiling. And, everyone's capacity to do that is smaller. So take a zero off, say 500 to 1,000. Fine. I will say you should look at how much you invest in your own learning and growth and development. And then you should look at what you were investing in your learning, growth, and development 5 years. And it's like that number should be significantly larger, because that's a pretty good indicator that you're Xing, you're 10Xing, you're 3Xing, you're 4Xing.
You're growing.
You're growing. Yeah. You're pushing yourself.
Yeah.
So, I think what makes me good is the core of really wanting others to win is, really wanting people to build great lives for themselves, being good at marketing, being good at systems, mindset, beliefs, clearing my own blocks, being willing to be humble, carving out time on my calendar to learn from others.
You and I share that. And so I'm curious, like for a recruiter that is wanting to start their own up, they're ready to step out, or for even somebody who's been looking for something, like what makes recruiting a good fit for somebody? And then what are the first few steps that will really help them start to build that foundation?
What makes recruiting a good fit for someone? Couple things I would look at, and then this isn't meant to not give anyone permission to start this. Like I ain't shit. So if anything I say doesn't land, it doesn't matter. Like take what serves you and what lands for you and use it. And then discard anything that I say or share right now that at all caps you or limits you in any way. Clear? Cool. I look for someone that's kind of 50-50 introvert extrovert, because the role requires, liking interacting with people and also being able to like take a pause, do your research, get on LinkedIn, do your marketing. So generally I look for somewhat of a 50-50 blend. I personally am 100% an extrovert, and it's a struggle. And I would be more successful if I had a little bit more of an introverted tendency, so that I would do more research and feel comfortable. That's the first thing that I would look at is, some sort of blend of introversion and extroversion. You have to like talking to the people that you're talking to. So, you need to look at the market and the niche and test and see what's going to respond well. And also you have to enjoy, a large part of your work is going to be interviewing people day in and day out, and you got to like talking about that, and you need a balance there. It's like if you just focus on the niche and you don't even care about the other side, cool, unless you hit a niche that money is just flowing without any effort, which is not realistic. It's going to take effort, and you just focus on the niche, then you're not going to like it. And then if you just focus on who you like talking to and you don't factor in the niche and the market and what they're responding to, you're going to hate it, because you're going to spend all your time talking and you're not actually going to get the revenue. So having a person that, has a couple of different types of people that they enjoy talking to throughout their career, most people will already have a couple of different jobs and pools that they can pull from. So those two things are the first thing. I'm kind of like, okay, 50-50 or, some sort of blend of introvert, extrovert. And then they have a couple of different types of people that they like talking to, so that we can test the different niches and see where they're going to land. If you want to get started, just start working, like just find it. And if you're like, I don't even know if I want to, I'm like, just reach out through any of the communities or people that we interviewed and find someone and do the work for free. Then like, don't give me this BS that like, I can't find it. I'm like, just do it for free, dude. Like, you don't think I did free work? I do free work right now. So get started, reach out to someone, say, hey, let me do your recruiting for you. Just any of the people in any of these communities, just like do the shit work so that you learn it and see if you like it. And then if you like it, then start it and get moving and find a mentor, a coach, a teacher. And throughout any of these, like whether they're podcasts or books or videos or courses or it's like, just download everything that you need. You'll get there faster with a mentor and a coach. You don't need it. Like it can just take longer to do it, but it's not needed. Just get moving immediately. Test. move.
Yeah. So action, which is so interesting because like a lot of times we don't take action. We think we need to do all this research, we need to learn, we need to really spend a lot of time like gathering info, gathering data, and like that is actually not how like we get confident in something. It's actually about getting out there, trying it, making mistakes and learning from it. Like I will say I had, for me, my first 3 deals fall through, and it's so important to understand what is really going on. Now I've had wins before that, but it's really like, okay, what's really happening? Where's the ball being dropped? Where is this not worth it? And like what gets to shift and change.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Um, I lost my train of thought. And the reason I lost my train of thought is because I was just listening to you, Kate, and I was just focused on you. And I was wondering what it's been like for you, um, learning with me. And I've been
Mm,
wondering, um, let's go vulnerable.
totally.
What do you think I need to work on as a mentor and a coach?
Mm. Well, I like how hands-on you are. Like, I like that you're easily accessible. Like, this has been super critical for me. And I think that if you're stepping out and changing your career, that's really valuable. So for me, I came from a background of therapy and coaching. I have fantastic listening skills. There's a lot of transferable skills that I already had. I've also previously already owned and operated 2 businesses. So I already had that background of like knowing that like I'm more committed to doing my own thing. um, and that's been fun, but I actually really wanted some teamwork more in my life because I've done the solopreneur thing, and it's been a really cool opportunity to do that. So I love the availability, um, and I think it's look up and look out. So it's really one of the key things about not feeling overwhelmed is the capacity to just put your blinders on and just focus on one thing at a time. Super, super critical. But you also, as a business owner, have to be able to look up and say, okay, what is the thing that I'm building and heading towards? And sometimes you get so mired down in the details that you forget to think about, where do I want to be a year from now? Where do I want to be 3 years from now? Where do I want to be 5 years from now? And that can be something that's really crucial. And that's not necessarily something that we talk a whole lot about. Yeah, occasionally we talk about that. We popcorn that. I mean, we have a relationship outside of purely the mentorship. Like, we're siblings, so we've always been available to each other for things. And so essentially that, like that, and I often find that I bring that into our conversations. Like, I bring in the, where do you want to be standing a year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, because like we really are shifting more into this team aspect where there are
Mm.
things you really enjoy, like you're full extrovert, I'm like 75%. And there are things that I enjoy more. So like I will own that I don't love doing video the way Todd loves doing video. Doesn't mean I won't, because I believe that anything is a skill and anything can be learned. And that the more you do something, the more comfortable you become with something.
Yeah, and look, honestly, I don't. I love video, and also I'm a decent enough coach that it isn't about me. It's what works for them. You know what I mean? It's
Mm-hmm.
it's finding how they work and what they get the most out of, and then helping them maximize that. I mean, we've had that theme come up a few times throughout this interview series of, let's help you double, triple, quadruple down on your strengths, and let's
Strengths.
just help you kind of work around the weaknesses. I'm not even worried really about patching them up. Like, straight
No,
up
it's
outsourcing,
ineffective.
finding other people. Yep. Like, I'm just
Yeah,
like,
it's
let me
totally
just
ineffective.
yep,
Get rid
put
of it,
good
get off your
strategies
plate.
in.
As coming from a therapy background, they literally research and evidence out there that says there is 0 point in focusing on what you're weak in. The amount of gains you'll establish on an area you're weak in, so minimal. What can happen as a result of you focusing entirely on your strengths is you can make leaps and bounds in your growth. And like,
Yep.
here's the deal, like we hire out for things, we don't do everything.
Yep.
Like I don't do my lead gen messaging, like I have a VA. Why do I have a VA? Because early on, yes, I did. I started it because I wanted to learn it, wanted to know it. But once you kind of like get a feel for it, and I think that makes you compassionate and value the people who do the work for you.
Yep.
Um, Once you kind of hone in on that, it's like, okay, get this off your plate. Why do I need to get off my plate? So I can have a life. Because like, I don't want to work 60, 70 hours a week. I've done that. Like I legit did that. I worked a job and then I had a private practice on the side. Like I have put in massive amounts of manpower, like working 12, 13-hour days where that's your norm. Do I have a lot of energy? Yeah. Could I do it again? Yeah. Do I want to? No, because life is meant to be enjoyed in my book.
Boom. Preach, sister. Another thing that you shared that I want to highlight on this that I used just a week ago, I was trying to make a decision on something, um, and I went to vision. So what I did is I go, if you go out 20 years in your vision of like what you really want to create, it makes the current decision that you're trying to make that week very simple.
Mm-hmm.
The farther you go out and you picture what you're actually trying to create, like, okay, 20 years from now, here's really what I'm trying to create, then you're like, oh, this decision, easy. And
Yeah.
that's a technique that, you brought back online. Because sometimes as a person, one of my shortcomings is I'll get super into the weeds.
Yep.
I'll get super detailed all the way down in there so much. And I don't even like that. I like high level. I like big picture. And also to be successful, you need to be able to go from the macro to the micro and the micro to the macro, like optics up and optics down. And sometimes I'll drill down so in the details that I will get a little bit like, discombobulated where I'm like, okay, wait, what?
What am I doing? What's my name?
Yeah, and I'll be so in like I'll be like finding the correct email, and then I will be in a spreadsheet looking at 40 different tools, drilling down. I'm like, email subject, and I will be watching YouTube videos for like 40 hours, and it's like I use your technique of being like, okay, go back to the 20-year vision
Yeah, but
to
that's
help
also
with
really
this.
good. So like guys, like I want you to get this. Like there's a lot of research that Todd does. Like yeah, I have a different way and a different way of thinking about things, but Todd will get so detailed on something, but it makes his strategies incredibly effective. Like if we were to run the metrics on it, like the rate we get responses is significantly higher, but it's also because Todd has poured himself into how do we make sure we get the right emails, because like otherwise you're literally wasting your time or you're wasting your VA's time or you're wasting money. How do we make sure that like the emails that go out are actually engaging, and then like there's like, pursuing leads on roles, and there's also a longer term content strategy. So because you're so detail oriented, it's good. And I think that ultimately between the two of us, we have a really interesting balance in a way of like um, allowing each other to be in our highest skill sets.
Mhm.
And that really like, cause outside the box has shifted, like, yeah, I do stuff on my own. But we've really developed more of a team and a partnership and like just this really cool, and it's super cool guys, like to know that you get to work with your brother, like that is amazing. Like it's just such a really cool thing where it's like, yeah, we've always had this relationship, like we've always had each other's backs, ever since we were little. Like mom will tell that story of you defending some mean kids against me, and it's like so cute, but it's like we've always had each other's back. So imagine getting to work with people that are really like, the foundation that our family comes from is a foundation of giving and helping. Like it's on our father's side, it's on our mother's side. Like there are so many stories of just totally giving, and that is really like, we're just like that in our relationship with each other. Like I can be frustrated and have 500 things going on. I make time, I make time to coach and to guide people and to be that source of support.
Yeah, and let me echo something back to everyone watching. You wouldn't be watching this right now if it wasn't for Kate. Kate carried the load and the lift to get all of this done. So every single expert that you've heard from, she did all the outreach. She set everything up. It's a gift. Like it wouldn't happen without you, Kate.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then the other side of it is like I pivoted our entire business in 2 weeks. Like redid website, redid LinkedIn, redid all the marketing, redid all the training for VA. And anyone who says you can't, get business quick, like F off. So like I went from nothing to like now we have 5 roles that we're working on within, you know, 3 to 6 business days
Yeah.
after
And
I
we're
went
about to
live
turn
with a
one
pivot.
away. We're literally about to turn one
Yeah, we're
away
about to
because
fire them. Yep,
yeah,
I
because
know.
we're like, this isn't, and like fundamentally, one of the things I think is so important that Todd's really taught me is, and I know I like dorked out on a couple of interviews when we were calling it like a dating, but it really is like dating. Like, what is the relationship you want? Because like, I'm only in it for long-term clients, for people that I'm going to enjoy working with and people that value the service that I provide. Why? Because you got to think, who's going to give you referrals, you know, and who's going to come back to you. And like, I get to show up and do a great job for them. I get to be highly effective. I get to be open to feedback. That's one of the other things. Like, we're always saying, what do you like? What do you not like? And the reason behind that is I then take that into the interviews and make sure I'm hitting those targets so that the people that I get in front of them, if they didn't like the first round, by the second round, they've got somebody that they want.
Yeah, that lands. Why am I we're gonna have to Kate and I have been hammering away on interviews, marketing, running our own thing, doing our own searches, doing lead gen, interviewing experts, creating time to learn more. I just want to share with you guys, like, I know my highest and best use is a teacher, trainer, and mentor. And I know Kate's is too. And also the practicality of running a business every day and continuing to question myself and what I do and what I should do. And
That's awareness.
Kate's been a huge help. And Kate probably coaches me. I'd say 3 times a week. We probably do a quick, like, 10 or 15-minute coaching session.
Well, let's actually
Um,
talk a little about that. So like, we're both actually certified in NLP, in hypnosis,
mhm,
in timeline therapy. I have a background as actually as an art therapist and a therapist. I ran my own private practice. Also ran a coaching business.
mhm.
So like, we've actually got that skill set. So it is really cool. Yes, we are fundamental believers in coaching and in working with others. But we also are able to support each other in it, you know. But we have that awareness that while we can do that for each other, it's super, super important that you have an outside coach,
Oh,
somebody
yeah,
else that,
for
yeah, like,
sure.
total no brainer there.
Yeah, 100%. Like, we've talked about this, that I'm looking for my next, like, I've got a bunch
Yeah,
of mentors. I'm looking for my next coach. And I would say, look, we got that master prac that I'm going to go to. That's an
yep,
$8,000 program. I again, man, like, you want to invest
in
in
yourself,
pushing yourself. Yeah,
in
in yourself
yourself.
and in pushing yourself. But I would say
Yeah,
that you coach me, a couple times a week. And I'm also looking for my next coach.
yeah. Well, it's critical. Um, it's just really valuable. I mean, I coach several people several times a week anyway. So I like to have kept my feet in that industry because I think it's so valuable. So
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Yeah, you need someone that's been where you are and where you're trying to go. Has
mhm.
walked that journey already, that you're able to download. Um, their thinking and their approach and their system. And, like, to go back, like, when I pivoted our biz and I redid all of our emails, and I've been doing marketing and email marketing. I've done handwritten letters and coffee mugs and,
Mhm.
direct mail
Donuts.
and donuts and content emails and reading the top 5 books on Amazon and writing a review and sending that, and cold calls and individual videos and, thousands and thousands of emails. And just this week, I still hired a consultant.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
I
Because that's
connected with
smart.
Donnie and Zach, and, like, they kicked my ass on it, and it's like, that is how you get better. And, like, I started the call, like, I ain't shit, and it's
Yeah.
like,
It's the
just
willingness
continuing
to
to show
learn.
up. Yep. And I now like that feeling of feeling dumb, in the sense of, like, I'll work really hard and then I'll put it out and I'll just get torn apart. And it's like, I pay for that.
Yeah. Well, it's a mirror. It's the reflection. It's the gap. And the gap can only be closed by awareness. Like if you can't see the gap, and like the gap doesn't mean anything's wrong with you. You are
Yeah.
perfect as you are. You are
All
more than
good.
enough. You are worthy. And I want to drive that home for everybody. Like the gap is not something's wrong with you. The gap is something isn't working. And the awareness of that is what will create the change for you. So you cannot change anything you're not actually aware of. It takes the ability to see it to then be able to say, okay, what can be done differently? Because everything is just like small tweaks here and there. It's not necessarily like start from scratch. It's like you've already built something. Okay, let's evaluate it and let's look at what you can do differently. And that's why that conversation is so important. And that's ultimately why I believe in coaching and why I think coaching and therapy are so critical, because it's like there's always going to be a gap because we're designed to reach for more. We just are. You never get like I remember hearing something years ago about I guess it was like NFL players, and it's like you have this dream, you have this vision, and you reach it. Now what? Always be asking yourself, now what? What's next for me? What's my next goal? Because you are here to enjoy your life and to focus on the things that you enjoy and to always be setting something. Otherwise, it's like, where are you headed in 10 years, in 5 years? What's next for you? What would be meaningful or impactful? What's the difference you want to make? Was there something that you went through coming up that you want to we talked with Danny Cahill, who like really was set out on not repeating his history, you know, and now making that change. And like, that's so critical and crucial and important.
Yeah, and I want to mirror this back, and I want to be vulnerable on this as well. I made that mistake. I made that mistake of I set a goal when I launched. I was like, if I can make 8K a month, like I'm good to go. And my stretch goal would be making 20K a month. I was like, this is 2015 when I launched, and then I hit my stretch goal in like 6 months. Uh, and then I was like, no point in doing anything else. And so I started working like 15 hours a week, just doing all the hobbies, you know what I mean? Like soccer and Brazilian jiu-jitsu and surfing and surf trips and just like all this stuff. And then I got depressed, and then I got bored and unengaged, and I didn't do what Kate is talking about. Like I have made that mistake, and you know, just went like this because I had hit my stretch goal. Sometimes the worst thing that can happen to you is you actually get what you want.
Or is it the best
Because
thing? Because that gives us contrast and it gives us the ability to make a change.
yeah, I mean, I would get there on the optics. You know what I mean? I'm saying in the short term, you know what I mean? Like the worst thing is you actually get what you want, because you haven't had, and like quickly, because you haven't had time to create the next stretch. Um, and also, yes, in hindsight, it causes you to like reassess. One of the things, one of my goals here with Kate is financial independence for people. Like recruiting is, for me, it's just a path for people to be able to take a breath, like do work that they enjoy and make bags of money and pay off everything and own their house and not have any debt and,
Be able to
stash
invest
away
in themselves,
money.
do different things,
Yeah.
enjoy,
And
take
just be able to
trips.
like all the things, like all the things where you can just take a deep breath and you don't have to worry about money anymore. And it's like, it's just a vehicle for engagement and, financial freedom. And I'm very clear on that. And also I'm very clear that people are like, oh, that's the dream. And I'm like, yo, that's step one. Because in your evolution, if you stay there, we're always moving. So you're gonna start, brownie in emotion, you're gonna start going the other way. And I'm like, that's step one. And then you move into impact for others and
Mm-hmm.
focusing out. And so one of the things that happened to me is like I got the things that I wanted, and getting the things that you want isn't really what's going to make you happy. It's like, it's cool. Absolutely get financially free. Absolutely get a bunch of money in the bank. Absolutely get work that you really enjoy. And also understand that after a couple months of that, it's time. It's time to start bringing other people into your business, helping them win. It's time to move up in impact, and it's time to focus out. Like, it's cool to focus in on what you need, get yourself what you need. And, the mistake I made is I got it all. And then I just kind of, and so one thing, I learned is, you have to set that next thing,
Yeah.
and that blend of like focusing on yourself and focusing on
Yeah, and there's
impact.
beauty in making mistakes because mistakes give you an opportunity to learn. So when you start to change the relationship you have towards the mistakes you make. So rather than saying, "Oh, I failed," like it's not a failure. It's instead an opportunity. And I think that's a really important and pivotal shift. Um, Guys, for this series, this is like our huge gift to y'all. I hope that you have found incredible value in it. I know that for Todd and I, it's been an absolute joy to create, and it's been packed, absolutely packed with incredible insights and tools and strategies and processes that are just phenomenal. So this is absolutely our gift. I'm going to drop a link below. So you guys are welcome to check out our YouTube channel. Todd and I have created a ton of videos there. Our goal is to provide value for you. You can absolutely be successful at this. Like, Todd is living proof. I'm living proof. Todd's mentored many. And we're just excited for you to be here. And Todd, if you were to say, like, what would you leave our audience with the biggest takeaway?
Yeah. Great question, Kate. So, a couple of things, our YouTube channel, Facebook group, hop in, start learning. Kate and I will be launching, a mentorship series soon. So stay tuned and stay on the lookout for that. Um, Trust your instinct. There are so many brilliant men and women that have been on this series. Connect. Go with the person that you resonate with. Like, there
Mm-hmm.
are so many different teachers out there for us. Um, I mean, gosh, it just every person. If I could just go through the list of all the great people that have been on this show. Um, you know, click, move forward, get engaged with someone, whoever you resonate with, that you're like, that's my person. Take a step, take
Mm.
action, get moving. Kate, and again, be on the lookout. We're going to launch more stuff. Kate, what would you like to leave our audience with?
You are capable of absolutely everything that you want and desire. When you choose to believe in yourself and you take action and steps forward, you can absolutely have the things that in your heart you want. You're worth it.